Welcome to Debt to Cinema. I'm Stephen Momanex.
And I'm Brian Gillis. Like most people, we love going to the theater and catching the latest releases. However, sadly, put a big dent in your wallet.
Fortunately, living in the digital age makes the viewing possibilities endless from the comforts of home.
Many of these films that you can see right from your couch, we're ashamed to say we missed, despite labeling ourselves cinephiles.
So join us as one or both of us cross off a title from our list of shame.
It can be an all-time essential classic,
or an underrated piece of cinema that's worth giving a shot.
Hell, it might just be some trashy film we want the other's opinion on. So sit tight and join us as we pay off our debts, $1 at a time.
Oh, that guy in Bellevue that killed his whole family. Cut him up with knives. Maybe they disappointed him.
All we need is a lawyer around here.
You're a good boy. He's a good boy. Isn't he a good boy? Your daddy's little angel.
Sure.
Hi, honey.
He's just some crazy creep. Don't you talk to your father that way. He's not my father. How can you even bear to let him touch you? Stop it!
We have to talk, honey.
About what?
About what is happening to our family.
I'm taking care of it.
He scares me, Dr. Pondering.
Who am I here?
Help me! Help!
You're a very bad girl. The Stepfather.
You're welcome, Brian.
For how good this movie is?
This is just literally for you.
This is for me. This is a good-ass fucking movie.
No, I mean, the
this
reason
is one
why...
of my favorite watches.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, no, the reason why I picked this, you know, you've been on about it, about this trend of horror movies for holidays. Father's Day just happened, so you're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, this is one of the better films that we've had on this show.
It was a
that
surprise.
is not acclaimed. Like, the
well,
script
you know
here
what?
is so good. This is like one of the best scripts I've ever seen unfold on screen.
You know, that's the crazy thing is that it was acclaimed at the time. I always just assumed because it was a horror film in the 80s and movies like Friday the 13th, you know, they were torn
It had
apart.
to be like one of those.
This
yeah.
was respected. Like, Terry O'Quinn, nominated for Independent Spirit Awards, nominated for Saturn,
Awards,
This
like
wasn't
everything, yeah.
a crazy
This is
hit.
John Locke. You know, he became John Locke for a
Yeah.
reason, and this is one of the movies along the way.
I did not know that this movie was well respected until I looked it up later.
I knew there were several sequels. I knew
They're
there
not
was a
connected,
remake.
though. It's not the same production company.
But they are connected. It's so fucking crazy. The sequel, Stepfather 2, which came out like 3 years later, is literally him surviving at the end and escaping from like a mental institution and going on another rampage, like
Yeah.
doing the same thing again.
Doesn't
but
sound
then
good.
Stepfather 3, it might be good. I'm curious. Terry O'Quinn returned. Stepfather 3, they couldn't get him. It's direct to video, and the setup is, he gets plastic surgery in the beginning, and that's why he doesn't look like the same dude. And like that has to be like the best movie ever made. It has to be so bad. I'm kind of curious. It's an HBO movie. You know, it's one of those. It's like 1991 or like I want to hunt down the other two, and the remake. I'm curious about the remake
I
too.
did want to see the remake when it came out, the PG-13 remake, mind you. But like
This is
It
pretty much a
seems stupid.
PG-13 movie. Like
Yeah.
this is not very R.
there are really cool things in here that work, but I mean, just
Mm-hmm.
you know, some that's actually really, really cool, like a detail
like
about
the
this
tits in
production
the
that I
shower
learned.
at the end. Just
Well, I mean, just the fact that the production of this movie, like learning about all these things, learning about them afterward, just made it even
it's
more
a
awesome.
big movie.
This is based off something that happened for real. This guy,
Yeah,
John
John
List.
List. Yeah.
Yeah.
The funnier thing about John List isn't that it's based on a real story. It's that Robert Blake portrayed John List in '93 in a film called Judgment Day: The John List Story that he was Emmy nominated for against Beverly D'Angelo. Some dude who was convicted for killing his second wife played a dude that killed families.
Here's
That's
the crazy thing, though. Like,
stranger than fiction.
You know how he was caught?
No.
You know the show America's Most Wanted?
Oh yeah,
Like,
he's one of the
this
most wanted people that actually got caught.
This
Yeah.
was 18 years after he did the crime, and
That's
there
so
was
cool.
a sketch that was put out of what this guy might look like now.
Mm-hmm.
And his neighbors caught him and reported him, and he was caught, and he died in prison. I think about 5 years ago or something
These
like that.
little factoids just build on a good movie and make it a must watch.
Here's some really cool for the remake is I rewatched the trailer just recently because I really wanted to see what that looked like, and America's Most Wanted is a plot point in the trailer,
Really?
and I totally forgot about
Gotta
that.
see it now. I need
Yeah,
to see
like
it.
that is something where they mention, oh, hey, you know, he kind of looks like that guy. It seems, you know, the remake has enough differences that I think could be cool as like a trashy PG-13 thriller, but yeah, now
It's
I just
that
really
era.
want to
It's
watch
the-
it after I saw that. I was like, wow, even the remake. did some research on this because he was not caught. I mean, America's Most Wanted didn't happen during this movie, you know?
No, yeah, it's a little bit after this movie came out. But all those mid-2000 remakes of 80s slasher films generally aren't good, but I'm curious in this one. Like, not Straw Dogs. I want to see that. I kind of want to see them all, to be honest.
I don't want to see that remake. I love Straw Dogs so much. I just don't.
I like James Marsden. I'd like to see him in that role, just out of curiosity. Well, just to see how they can push the gore factor with a bigger budget. To be honest, but that's not.
I don't think that one's rated R though, is it?
Straw Dogs? Oh yeah, for
the remake.
For real? No, probably not.
No,
sure.
Yeah, the Sam
most of them aren't.
one,
most of
definitely.
those remakes are PG-13.
Yep, screen gems.
But then
even
again,
the Stepfather remake is screen gems. I think
it's because they could push a PG-13 a lot farther when it's been out for like 20 years versus when this film came out, PG-13 existed for like 2 years. It wasn't exactly, you couldn't tiptoe it. Without this, like, America's Most Wanted or remake or sequel information or even that's inspired by a true story, if you throw all of that away, this movie is important for cinephiles for one reason in particular, is because it's a very, very, very obvious homage / like inspiration on Adam Wingard's The Guest. So much so the blueprint for where they went with that, between the 80s background, how the final girl works in that movie, just the titular character in particular, and how much you kind of root for this crazy fuck despite him being the bad guy.
Not really root for him, no. Like,
I was rooting. Well, maybe I was doing it like ironically because I was watching this with like as a date movie, but at the same time I was like, this guy, just the way it opens, that kick-ass shot where
shot is so fucking good.
Even before that reveal, when he's just in the bathroom, like shaving, cutting his hair, he's got the blood, he's like throwing the shit in the briefcase, like just chaotic, and when he walks down those fucking stairs. Like, it goes from, let me pick up this sailboat and put it in this toy box and close the toy box and close the door.
I love that touch where he just picks up the chair as he goes. Like,
right?
It's just nothing, and he's just whistling like it's a normal day. It's like, you fucking psychopath.
But then you see this dead daughter and the dead wife and the blood on the walls on the stairwell and the knives.
The Shining, where the daughters are just cut up with an axe, and I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ!
He turns into one of those bad guys that you won't ever forget.
Great shot aesthetically.
It's not even just the way it's shot, it's just the script. It is such a smart script. Donald E. Westlake, the guy that wrote this, wrote like 80 novels or something crazy. He only has like 8 produced screenplays, but he is an acclaimed writer and a prolific one. And anytime a writer like that, like John Grisham or someone, actually writes a screenplay, when you pen the adaptation, or better yet, when you just decide, I want to be a screenwriter too, you almost always get a realized world. This should not be a good film. It should be a slasher 80s film that has like some good kills and some good chemistry or maybe like a good score, but it has it all. Like, this is a fully realized story.
Yeah, I mean,
it almost is. Like,
to the director.
It's certain
It almost
moments.
was that. Here's the thing, is that the director is on record for saying that he does not like scary movies. Joseph
this isn't
Rubin.
a scary movie.
So, yeah, when he got in, the script I think was floating around for 10 years and they had trouble financing it, and he was the one that really made the push for there to be more character in there, for it to be more interesting.
This is just a thriller.
It's a really fucking solid thriller. It's not some lame slasher. There aren't that many kills here, but when there are,
the body count
is
great. The body count's like what, 4? This 5, 4.5. This is more of a home invasion, like scared straight story. This is a stranger danger movie. This is don't allow, like, commentary I was doing during the movie is that this film could not exist in the era of the internet, period. If this guy went around, this dude that for
America's
a year,
Most Wanted is
like,
around, you get cut.
Well, not even that though.
Unless
just
you
in
make
terms
your characters really, really stupid, which, thankfully this movie does not do.
It almost does that. The wife here, the second wife, Stephanie's mom, is pretty stupid. Just the idea that her husband died or disappeared. I kind of love that you don't get any backstory on that, and that obviously the daughter's distraught. She's in counseling. Like, her best friend is her shrink. How like her romance is kind of set up, but it doesn't really happen because she's a final girl. Like,
yeah,
how
there
it
isn't
just
really that much dug into there.
It plays with it really, really slowly, but between Stephanie like getting into the fight in that art class, which is pretty awesome, her wanting to go to boarding school, just like these little touches, like her bedroom, how she lives like in this perfect suburb where everyone knows one another, it kind of feels like Westboro. Like this feels like the town in Scream, but people aren't aware that they're in a movie. And when you get that actual magazine, the Travel and Leisure or whatever, and it's like America's 10 best like hometown cities or whatever, and he moved to one of those,
just
it makes
that
sense.
Reveal too. It's
which
I mean,
was
almost
like one of the more
everything here.
bullshit moments in the movie. I was like, the fact that the first library he went to would have that fucking issue from a year ago.
He's just like,
come on.
Of course, I mean, maybe buying into that is a little off, but like, of course he would use that fucking
It
magazine.
kind of makes sense given his character, but I want like probably the weakest part of this movie is that character, the brother of the wife that got killed the time before Stephanie.
He's fodder. That's it. You know, I really actually his scenes are good. You know, I like how he tracks him down, just the process. But he's the Dick O'Halloran in The Shining, where he's gonna show up and he's just gonna be there just for a kill. That's it.
I'm happy that guy got killed, but
You knew it
up
was gonna
until that
happen.
moment, he was a total Peggy Sue. Like just the way that he just nonchalantly just so happens to be in the right place at the right time. No, the cops help him out. The chief's like secretary helps him out. How lucky he gets with like the blueprint and all of these things. Oh, go get a gun. I seriously thought that he was going to cross paths with the Stephanie character, the final girl, either like sleep
in
with
passing
her
or something.
or
What?
just like I don't know, like even her being 16, whatever. Like when it said she was 16, I was less inspired with that thought process. But yeah, like they got romantic in some way, or they crossed paths, or they like teamed up to kill the dude, or something. I thought that they were like
that could
equal
have been cool,
parts.
yeah. But I gotta be honest,
Maybe
though,
in the
Stephanie
remake.
is a little bit of a weak point for me.
She's not the strongest final girl.
I don't know if she's necessarily that well written, or if there's just not enough for me to buy her as an outcast. Like that little touch of her just putting her fingerprints on the teacher's shirt. It's like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's like I never did get the sense of, okay, this is a troublemaker, or you know, this is someone who tends to be the outcast of her classmates, you know, or that that she's weird or anything. I mean, the introduction is what, like her and her mother just throwing leaves
Doing
at
the
each other,
leaves
and I was like,
thing, yeah.
that's kind of weirdly playful. I don't know.
It's pretty weak.
It's weird, yeah.
She definitely could have had more characterization. It would have been nice if, perhaps given especially the time frame, that she were into punk music or aesthetic. Instead, she's like into U2, and she, you know, goes to diners alone, and she dresses kind of preppy with like sweaters and her hair up and like in a high ponytail and stuff. The film very much so relies on the characterization of the stepfather and your interest into who he is and why, and the way that his personalities just unravel. The fact that, you know, this like process of shedding his skin in the beginning, and then when you get that next version, you know, into like the final third, almost the third act of the film,
Just the
when
process
you're like,
where you see that he's switching
right?
over, and
it's like, hold
oh my
up,
God,
hold up.
he is a fucking chameleon, though. Like,
he's had a toupee the whole fucking movie.
I mean, you figure
know,
the
like-
wife would be able to notice, but still, like the way that
but even still, it's just it's
he plays
bonkers
it so well,
how
like,
much
he blends in
it's so good.
well.
He like looking at the poster for this film. Who am I now?
Yeah.
Or when he has that line like, "Oh yeah, thanks for reminding me who I am," and then he fucking takes
Just
the
so
phone and
fucking
smacks her upside the
creepy.
face.
The fucking thought that he's
It's
done
so
this
good.
enough that he can't remember who is who anymore. Like it just makes it more and more chilling. Of like, yeah, this guy has gotten around quite
Like
a
this
bit.
guy could almost be part of M. Night's Split universe. He's that kind of
if
super
he did
villain.
have superpowers, yeah.
No, even without powers, he could be, you know, like Mr. Glass, just someone that fits in a comic book world, because the chameleon in Spider-Man is this guy. He doesn't have any superpowers. He can just, as an actor, like Clayface in Batman has more supernatural elements because he's made out of clay, but it's the same idea. It's like there's this actor who can portray anyone, you know, and that's just, it's a really interesting take. But when you look at it from like a much deeper place, because outside of this just being written well in the way that like the newspaper rewriting the story and how that comes organically into their town, and he finds that newspaper. It's like, how does he get that newspaper to disappear? Oh, he turns into a hat and he puts it on a kid at the party.
Yeah.
If that kid didn't take off the hat, it would have left the party and Stephanie would have had no interest.
Also, it just
but the fact
leads
that
to like one of the best freakouts in the movie.
right,
All
like,
we need is a little order around here.
no, even better than that, though, when it comes in the mail and he has that line about the Cosmo magazine.
Yeah,
About
something
like,
you
oh,
shouldn't be looking
something you
at.
shouldn't be getting, you know? And I knew right then, I'm like talking out loud, which is something I don't do, but it's like I said, it's because I saw this with someone. And I was like, please, for the fucking love of God, take that photo, get a new photo, put it in there, and then put it in the mailbox to dissuade any kind of paranoia your stepdaughter has. And sure enough, he did it. He took the step to even go to, like, a photo mat and get, like, basically a Photoshop on the same photo so it didn't look inauthentic. The murder scene that happens in the house that has mid-construction.
The one with the psychiatrist, that is the best scene in the movie. I mean, just the way that builds up. Freaking...
It's like, it is organic.
Just that line when he snaps is just like, are you interested in buying a house, or do you want to hear my life story? Where it's just
even
like, oh,
past
shit.
that, though, where he's like, so this, this would be great for a family. He's like, oh, this is for me. I don't have a family. And then he flubs. Yeah, he flubs, and he's like, oh, I actually have a wife. And when he reaches for that 2x4, it's like, okay, wait, you already said this house is being renovated. It has the wood floors. It's being fixed. It has, like, paper down on the floor, kind of like the newspaper in American Psycho. And there's just organically a weapon there that isn't actually a weapon. It was so good, just the way that the setup happened, that it wasn't by coincidence. Like, just in the same way of how he disposes of that body.
Well, just
the fact
the
that
way
he
that
didn't
Terry O'Quinn plays it, like, you just every time he freaks out, like, he is in control. He is the man of the house, he feels fucking dangerous everywhere that he is. You're worried about the other person's well-being because you've seen what he's capable of in that opening shot.
Even though you see that opening, he still embodies, like, this perfect 1950s, like, American dad.
Yeah.
He just the way he dresses and the way he looks, his like wood shopping skills, the fact that he makes birdhouses. He wants to sell. Just his jobs, the two jobs that you get here, that he sells houses to families or he sells life insurance to families. Because in like the irony, the jokey version of everyone dies,
Yeah, he's a guy that's obsessed with presumably that family that I never had. Yeah, I read something where the script did have a flashback sequence or an explanation of why he was the way that he was, and it's because he had an abused childhood.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, like he probably had an alcoholic father, a slutty mom.
We didn't get that. We didn't need that. Like we did get a really nice quiet moment where right before he's about to leave the neighborhood, he's looking at a house that he just sold, and the little girl waves at him, and he waves back. Yeah. It's like, like exactly who this guy is. Like it doesn't justify anything that he does, but you understand why he's doing all this. He's a guy that's just obsessed with the idea of having a family, but doesn't exactly love the family that he has.
It's not, well, that's not even what it is. He doesn't love the family once he realizes that they're not worth loving. When they have these kinks
he's just trying to create something artificial, but it's not. It's
what's funny though is Eilis Warnos in Monster is painted the same way, where it's clearly a bad person, it is a quote-unquote monster, and yet you can't help, like, sympathize and almost root for them.
I'm not going to go with the word root, that's all you.
Yeah, less so here, but in Monster, up until a certain point, you're like, okay, you got, like, almost killed and raped at a truck stop, now you're doing these bad things, and you become almost an anti-hero. Here, it's like, no, you're just a bad dude. You're fucked up.
Speaking of which, I'm glad you said raped, because you reminded me of like one of
You're raping our daughter!
He was practically undressing her in front of the house.
I've known him longer than I've known you. What's that supposed to mean? Time to find a new house now, huh?
But yeah, like, that's the moment where he snaps. Oh man, that was hilarious.
It was like seriously, all of his freakouts, like in the garage.
Cheesy. You can't help but laugh at these things,
sure.
but you're supposed to laugh at these things.
I think you're supposed to. Like any kind of movie like this isn't 100% serious. If you look at any of the reverse holiday picks in particular, between Black Christmas, My Bloody Valentine.
Yeah, there's always humor there.
There's humor in these films. Like horror films need humor in some capacity, and even like the little girl catching him on his lies when he's showing the house to that family and he's pushing her on the swing set. He's like, oh, my daughter Stephanie goes to Oak Ridge High School, the same school that you're going to go to, and she's on the honor roll and she has straight A's. And it's like I remember pushing.
Oh yeah, my daughter Cindy. Yeah.
He's like, but that girl's so smart. She's like, I thought you said your daughter was Stephanie. Oh, you're right. And that's when his like persona starts just crackling, when the veneer starts to fade, and you begin realizing like this guy might think he's perfect. Like when he brings the only thing you see him do literally is build birdhouses, sell houses, and watching Mr. Ed. Like when he has his sex scene, it looks almost like he wishes nothing else. Like it's like he wanted that not to happen. In the same raping scene, when the daughter snaps,
he's trying
and
to
she
force
says that
a
thing,
relationship there.
right? He says that thing where she's like, "You like hate getting intimate with my mom" or something like that, and it's like, yeah, like this guy totally is a product of the 50s and only wants this like pacifist, perfect house, perfect society, perfect ideal everything, like talking about Rin Tin Tin and bringing a dog home for his daughter. And when he's talking about the newspaper to the people around him, they're like, how can someone do this? And just like nonchalantly he goes, well, maybe they dissatisfied him. Maybe they disappointed him. And that's totally what it is. Like, he wants the cookie cutter perfect nuclear suburbanite family with the two kids and a dog and a car and, you know, just perfection, and no one's gonna ever be perfect.
He's a believer in that saying, father knows best.
But there's like just oddly perfect timing in this film, and it's like things that I took out of it that weren't exactly there, chief among them being do you know like the story of the cuckoo, the bird? No. So
actually,
maybe
go for it. I think I might know a version of it.
The one that is known like in fiction, especially fabled, like in particular, Zeus pretended or took the form of a cuckoo when he slept with Hera, his sister, to trick them into having like one of their kids. Okay, but a cuckoo is a bird, a species that lay their eggs in other nests, and when they hatch, they eat the other young / take it over as their own house. And so this guy who is so obsessed with these birdhouses, the fact that the final shot of this film is the mom and daughter cutting down the birdhouse that he made, and it just sitting there now isolated, to me had to be something in the story where they're trying to articulate that same kind of symbolic nature where this guy was a cuckoo. He was
really good. I mean, that's a good way to put it. I just assumed it was a shot of their letting go of him and just fully cutting him out in any way they
it's
can.
like he doesn't make his own house. He finds one. He forces his way into it, tries to take it in as his own, just adopts the family. They don't necessarily adopt him. They always don't work out. A year tops is how long it lasts, right? It's surprising enough that they even get married. Even if you give it like that 3-week time span where he is already shedding his first identity to move into the new one, like when you get that shot here, him moving next door as the insurance agent with the mustache and the bald spot, and like the next door neighbor already wanted his dick. Okay, when you have that going on, but the fact that the writer took this extra step that maybe only certain people caught on, like I did, just spoke to me. I was like, this guy is like next level. Like, this is just a character that is written so well that maybe if all the other characters in the movie aren't, at least there's him. At least he's a very iconic villain, someone that did get a sequel or two and a remake, and could even get like a TV show.
At the Independent
and a
Spirit
nomination,
Awards.
you know? Like, it made John Locke's career. Like, Terry O'Quinn became an actor, maybe a character actor, but he's still an actor. And his acting chops here, like jumping around these characters, he gets to play 3 specific different embodiments of the same guy, and just how well he sells this cuckoo nature, because he is crazy. He's a cuckoo. Loved it. Just seriously, like just a serious, just film that's been lost. Almost, even though it has a claim and it's got these remakes and sequels and whatnot.
The remake tried to revive it. I mean, that is the purpose of these remakes, supposedly,
definitely
right?
The version
is to bring people back to the original.
But this is a hidden gem. This is a definite. I buy that for $1. Like, if you're ever somewhere and you see this in a yard sale for $1, which is unlikely because maybe on VHS you would. You got to pick it up.
It's a Shout Factory release, so most likely.
It's still cheap anyway. And you got to pick this one up. You're going to like it. Like, if you're not into blood, there's not a lot of that. If you're not into horror, it's not very scary. But it's just a very, very good not period piece, but character piece on what a role of a father is and the lengths that some people would be to try to be a father figure.
It's like, I mean, it is oddly enough fitting as a Father's Day film, but this is like the extreme version of that, in that, there are a lot of fathers out there that are kind of trying to, control their families and, project an idealized version of how they want things to be, and I would argue that that's actually how a lot of divorces happen.
Yeah.
Based on marriages that I'm familiar with, is that, people just weren't exactly up to cool with how dad wanted things to be. So, holds up in that sense. But, I mean, this is a really, really solid thriller that really doesn't treat its characters like shit, and I really like that about it. Yeah, I like that it takes its time. It can be cheesy, but
it's
I mean, even the cheesier stuff, like even if he loses his shit in the basement, it's kind of funny. It's also really unnerving when it happens. It's the Terry O'Quinn show, man, and he rules at it. It's not exactly a buy for me, but it's a silver dollar.
I really enjoyed this film, and it could have just been with the person I was watching it with, or the fact
it's really
that
entertaining.
Like before going into work, like this is the perfect like little stress reliever. It's like, yeah, I'm not gonna freak out like that type of shit, you know. Like just the flip side of some people, the duality of I'm the nicest, kindest, awesomest guy person in the planet. Like check me out, I'm so cool. And for these motherfuckers, they don't understand. Hi, honey, is that ice cream? Who am I again? I'm not gonna say I could be that guy. But we all have those moments where you kind of just cut loose and your like animal side comes out, and this is someone who's always
is just
like
fully
that.
Wild and out of control.
Yeah,
I really love those mix-up moments too, where he's just like, "I told them that girl 1,000 times. Make sure it's Bill Hodgkins." Who the fuck is Bill Hodgkins?
Oh, what's my name again?
Yeah,
Jerry. Oh, that's right.
Just that fucking phone calls or that telephone slap. Just Jesus, chilling, man.
That was awesome.
Yeah. I mean,
awesome.
Just the whole entire finale and that whole chase up the stairs, the moment she throws the sled at him, it's so cool.
I was begging, because when he breaks into that shower, like into the bathroom, through the mirror, was so kick-ass, okay? But the fact that
it's funny,
Stephanie
they
was
literally
smart
had
enough...
to write in the fact that mirror was in there, just so that she could get the piece of glass and stab him and run out, because it's like, how do you
her weapon
get out of
is
there?
organic from the situation. Like, she could have grabbed, like, I don't know, like a towel rack or like a razor blade.
When you take your surroundings and then you fight with them and you manage to persevere.
Like, the thing that I really liked about this movie too, towards the end of the chase, they run into the attic. And what is an attic? It's a place where you keep your memories, the things that you don't want anymore, your childhood. Like, I'm sure there was like artifacts of dad up there, and it's like, you don't go there the whole movie. It's the first time it's shown. It's like covered in dust and cobwebs. Like, it's the past, and she literally like
she throws a sled.
Like, well, Rosebud, but like she went like back in time to beat him. Like I don't know. It's just using the attic as like the final real set piece was so good. The way he falls through that floor, and then the wife like fucking shoots him. Okay, just I want to read this screenplay. It's got to be so good. Just some of the best horror writing I've ever seen. Like it's not meta, you know. It's not Kevin Williamson Scream style. It's not going, oh, this is such genius screenwriting, but this is like a natural stepping stone towards what Wes Craven was able to do with that franchise. Mm-hmm. Like, this is the kind of film that is so good that it makes sense that the genre would evolve into being self-aware. And this is on my list of like favorite horror films now, even if it doesn't, have the slapstick of Evil Dead or the gore of Evil Dead or the tree rape.
Of a thriller than a horror film.
It is 100%
definitely horrible
a thriller.
Things, but it's like it's not
probably only be classified as a horror film because of the father figure, because he is such a very obvious villain that he is painted so well, and he's a monster.
It's like he's definitely
he
could
a
be up
definite
there
monster.
with like. He could be up there with the likes of Norman Bates or Buffalo Bill easily.
He's written so well, and both of those are also inspired by real people. Like when you do have this just true tale that allows you to adapt it into a work of fiction because it's so unsettling. This story of this person is so uncanny that it makes it a better character, and it also serves as a reminder that the real world isn't peachy keen, that there are bad things and bad people out there, and you should never let your guard down. Like I said, this is a stranger danger movie. Like, this is the ultimate, like, almost be afraid of your Tinder date type of thing. Like, you could subvert this, like maybe show them have a date. Like, it almost reminded me a little bit of like the Lost Boys too, when like mom is going on the dates with the vampire next door type of thing, and like they're not trusting, except if you took some of that, you made this a little more campy, and you actually showed if you showed the courtship process, though, is what I'm saying. Like, if you showed how this monster actually comes into this household, if you turn this into a TV show, even better yet, like a Netflix or HBO show, people would not be able to get enough of it. It would be so good. Just have him kill someone like every couple of episodes, like Dexter or something. Thanks for listening. We hope it's been a pleasure.
If you enjoyed this episode, you can listen to more by checking out the Dollar Reviews Show, where we cover theatrical and streaming releases, as well as give our 2 cents on anything we sought out on our own, whether that be TV, music, etc.
You can find all of our content at dollarreviews.net. Follow us on Twitter or like us on Facebook at Dollar Reviews.
And we're also on Google Play Music, iTunes, Pocket Cast, TuneIn, Stitcher, SoundCloud, YouTube, just about anywhere on the internet with hours of content available to you for free. But for those of you that feel that the show is worth your dollar, you can send us a donation at patreon.com/dollarreviews. Contributions not only earn our undying love, but they also make it possible for us to improve our recording equipment and to give you the highest quality episodes possible. But more importantly, they'd be helping us acquire the content to review. You know, trips to the multiplex are expensive, and the more donations we receive, the more films we can review for your listening pleasure.
If you listen somewhere we're currently not available, you'd like to contribute some talking points, send a Death to Cinema request, or if you just want to laugh at us, you can do so by reaching out to us on social media or send an email to brian@dollarreviews.net.
Or you can email me as well, steve@dollarreviews.net.
You can follow me personally on Twitter at Brian Gillis, that's BRYONGILLIS, and now you know how to spell the email too. And also under the same name on the Loveview site Letterboxd, which acts as my film diary, where I rate films I'm watching, write the occasional review, and even sometimes compile lists.
You can also find me on Twitter at S_MTX, and also follow my film diary at Letterboxd under the same name, where I log everything I watch, and sometimes write brief reviews.
That's it for this week. Until next time, keep the change.